pleasure to introduce and welcome to all of you Chief Robert Spencer and his lovely wife, June.
Hey, Richie. Nice to see you, brother. Good.
I do want to welcome you here this evening to our feeding Bob Spencer. You know, today marks the official unemployment of Bob Spencer, and so from here on, this evening's festivities are going to be known as Spencer for Hire. Hopefully we'll have more fun, but unfortunately we have to begin with a speaker who needs to be taken out of order, and that's Senator Tarr. I know that you will give him your attention as you are about to partake in your soup. We'll even hold off on invocation because, after all, a senator sometimes ranks very, very high, as you know. And so it's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who needs to get back for tonight's episode of CSI Gloucester. The Honorable Bruce Tarr.
Thank you very much, Mike, and good evening. And I'm only sorry that I will not be here to later on this evening hear your rendition of the jokes that we heard last year and the year before and the year before and the year before. But it is a real pleasure to be with all of you, and I will try not to stand for too long between you and the first course of the meal because I know that no public speaker should ever do that. I appreciate Mike telling you how much I rank, but notwithstanding that, I will try to move through as quickly as I can. I am impressed so much at how much work Bobby Shelley has been doing tonight. He's, as many of you know, one of my oldest and best friends in the town of Wilmington. And I'm sorry to tell him after he's done all of this work that the new chief has already been selected and that it is not going to be of any assistance to him. I also want to announce there were many different members of the law enforcement community at my table. We held a raffle for who would get my meal when I left early, and I want to say that it was a lieutenant from one of our neighboring police departments. Congratulations, and my condolences to everyone else, including Representative Maselli. It is a pleasure always to be among you, and particularly to be with so many members of the law enforcement community who every day stand for one of the most important principles in American life, and that is respect for the law. And the law, as it guarantees the rights of individuals, is the cornerstone of the free society that we enjoy each and every day. And while that may seem like a lofty thing, every day it plays itself out in so many different ways, in so many different places. And tonight we're here to honor someone who has invested his lifetime in making it play out the right way, in the right place, in so many different occasions. Because while sometimes there are high-profile arrests, more often than that, there's the counseling that he gives to someone who may have had their first incident of trouble and he wants to make sure that they don't wind up in another one. Sometimes it's standing in a very difficult traffic situation and ensuring that a loss of life or an injury doesn't ensue. And sometimes it's just the fact that someone like Bob Spencer is on the road and on the street, and just that presence means that a criminal act or a negative act doesn't occur. But I think every one of us knows that Bob Spencer has been more than just someone who was a law enforcement officer. He's been someone who was a leader in the community. He's been someone who reaches out and gives us the fabric of the community just by the fact that he's willing to reach out and work with so many people in the town of Wilmington. Now, I heard a little while ago that he said that for so many years he's been giving his wife orders, but I am here to tell you, Chief, that that pattern is about to reverse itself, and we all look very much forward to seeing it. Because I think we all hope that as you retire, having given us so much, that your retirement gives you everything that you would want it to. And I know that means time with your grandchildren. I hope it also means time doing the many, many other things that you enjoy doing. But I hope in your retirement you'll still find a little bit of time to stay in touch with all of us. I know you'll never stop being an active member of the community. And from my perspective, you'll never stop being a friend. And that's one of the things that I walk out of the room tonight being very grateful for, in addition to all of the things that you have given me over your tenure in the Wilmington Police Department. So if I could ask you to come up here and join me as I do to you what you've done to so many other people, I'd like to give you a citation. And I would point out, Chief, first of all, this will not get you a discount from the AARP. And unlike so many of the citations you've given, it's not appealable in either district or superior court. But this is from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the State Senate. It's an official citation, and it reads, "Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Chief Robert H. Spencer. In recognition of your retirement after 35 years of dedicated service protecting public safety and 32 with the town of Wilmington. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate." And this is signed by Senate President Robert Travellini. It's attested to by our clerk, William F. Welch, and it's proudly offered by myself on October 21st of 2005. Chief, thank you for a job well done. Thank you for all that you have given us, and thank you for being a great symbol of public service in Wilmington and in Massachusetts. You're a great friend, and we all appreciate what you've done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Senator. And by the way, to the lieutenant who won the raffle, you owe us $30. Town never paid. Our next speaker also has to leave, and he's a part of the Boston Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and so I'm making no jokes whatsoever. He is a special agent with that important branch of the federal law enforcement. And here to make a presentation and offer remarks, it's my pleasure to introduce Special Agent Matt O'Shaughnessy.
Good evening. Good evening, Chief. Honored to be here today on behalf of the ATF, in particular of another special agent. Can you hear me now? Another special agent, Jim McNally, who is also a former Wilmington police officer, could not be here tonight due to a wedding he is attending in Newport, Rhode Island. However, I'd like to present the Chief with this certificate of appreciation on behalf of the ATF, which reads, Sir, thank you. Department of Justice, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, Boston Field Division. It's a certificate of appreciation presented to Chief Robert Spencer of the Wilmington Police Department. For his loyal and dedicated service, I do hereby recognize and applaud his excellence, contribution to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives in its mission. And it's signed by Special Agent in Charge, William Hoover. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Agent O'Shaughnessy. If that doesn't make you quit smoking, nothing will, huh? One of the Spencer's very dear friends, Father Leo Lynch, was hoping to be here but is unable to be here. And he was going to offer an invocation, and I know we've begun to eat, and please continue to do so. But in lieu of that, I did receive a poem that was written by an admirer of Chief Spencer and a friend, and someone that many of you folks may know. He is a retiree from the Wilmington school system by the name of Dick DeRoses. And he is somebody who is a very, very good friend of Bob and worked with him. So in lieu of the invocation, let me read this, and then I'm going to sit down and we're all going to enjoy a wonderful meal, I'm sure. And because we do have a little bit of a lengthy speaking program, with your assistance, we'll probably try to start during dessert, and hopefully we can keep things moving so you can meet with Bob and June and the rest of them later. But this is entitled Chief Robert Spencer, and it reads as follows. With distinction you served the town well. In all areas of your profession you did excel. You gave efficiency a brilliant new name, doing it each day quietly, seeking no fame. Robert, your life's purpose has become your great impetus. Everyone working with you has found the experience a plus. Each position you were assigned, we all know, found you dedicated, reliable, and striving to grow. You always judged people only by deed, not by color, by looks, or by creed. Life presented you challenges every day, facing each one squarely, never turning away. It's no secret your peers hold you quite dear because of your high standards that's oh so clear. You always take from the apple of life the best, always striving to accomplish has been your quest. There are givers and there are takers in life. There are stars and there are fakers who avoid any strife. You've always had the courage to do what's right, discarding out of hand what was superficial or trite. We wish you health and love each and every day. Happiness in all things large and small we pray. May God continue to shower his loving care for you and your family to peacefully share. And that's Dick DeRoses. Enjoy your meal. All right, folks. It's that time where we are going to hear from a smattering of Bob's family, friends, and colleagues, a few of whom have absolutely no idea who he is. Get ready, Bob, for an opportunity to smile politely as you receive a plethora, and for those firefighters in attendance, that means a whole bunch. plethora of citations and plaques, none of which you will ever see after tonight, and certainly, Bob, causing you to yearn for the good old days when you were able to take cash. And so, folks, in keeping with the earlier promise that I made to call on individuals who you really aren't interested in listening to, it is my pleasure to introduce Representative James Misselli.
Honoring Chief Robert H. Spencer on his retirement from the Wilmington Police Department. A resolution of the Massachusetts House of Representatives. And let me give you more material to use, Mike. This is entered as a permanent record in the legislature, and it's a resolution and it goes to the archives. Once again, we outdo the Senate. Senate gave you a citation. They run those things off in the back of the car. And this one is permanent. And it reads as follows. Whereas the esteemed Chief Robert H. Spencer is retiring as Chief of the Wilmington Police Department after 36 years of dedicated service to law enforcement, whereas Chief Spencer is known for his outstanding leadership skills and is a man of unquestionable integrity and undying devotion to his family and friends, whereas the Chief has dedicated his life to law enforcement and community service, beginning with his appointment as a reserve police officer for the town of Wilmington on October 31, 1969, and was appointed as a regular police officer in 1970. Whereas Chief Spencer transferred to the Wilmington Police Department in July of '73, where he worked patrol, and in 1983 was appointed the juvenile officer as well as supervisor of attendance for the school system. Whereas the Chief received his bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Northeastern University in 1979, and he attended Salem State College, where he majored in history and received his master's degree in 1989. And whereas Chief Spencer has excelled in each and every position he has held as a Wilmington police officer and commander. In 1990, he was appointed sergeant. In '92, lieutenant, and was assigned to be the supervisor of the Detective Bureau. Bob became deputy chief in 2001 and was appointed chief of the Wilmington Police Department in May 2004. Whereas Bob also advocated and attended DARE training in Los Angeles in '87. We got a bunch of reps right now in Spain. And implemented this program successfully the same year in the Wilmington public school system, where it continues to this day. His dedication to the youth of Wilmington continues in his capacity as he coached the Wilmington High School freshman baseball team from '89 to '91, whereas Chief Spencer has not only served the community in his capacity as a police officer, but he has served his country as a member of the United States Air Force, where he served from 1960 until his honorable discharge from active duty in Vietnam in '67. Whereas Robert and his wonderful wife June are the loving parents of Tracy Misaraka, I should be able to pronounce that, Esquire, Michael, Joseph, and Mary Beth Spencer Beals, and doting grandfather to Gianna and Marcello Misaraka, Holly Spencer and Tyler Beals, and a wonderful father-in-law to Tracy's husband, Christopher, Michael's wife Laurie, and Mary Beth's husband, Bob. And whereas Robert and June are active members of this community and have devoted their life to public service, therefore, be it resolved that the Massachusetts House of Representatives joins with the family and friends of Chief Robert H. Spencer to celebrate his selfless dedication to the town of Wilmington on his retirement from the Wilmington Police Department as Chief of Police at the Casa di Fiore on October 21st, 2005, and be it further resolved that a copy of these resolutions be forwarded by the Clerk of the House of Representatives to the Wilmington Chief of Police, Robert H. Spencer, and it's signed by Salvatore De Macy, Speaker of the House, Stephen James, Clerk of the House, James Michelli, Representative, and Representative Charles A. Murphy, who wanted to be here tonight but couldn't make it, but sends his best. And this being a nonpartisan event, look at this, Democrats, Republicans. Governor Mitt Romney, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Mitt Romney, governor, Kerry Healy, Lieutenant Governor, to Chief Robert H. Spencer, in recognition of your retirement after 36 years of dedicated service to the Wilmington Police Department, which is deserving of recognition by all the citizens of Massachusetts, October 21st, 2005, signed by Kerry Healy, Lieutenant Governor, and Mitt Romney, Governor, and very seriously, we couldn't have had a better individual working for this community, and he'll tell you, I must have called him. Anytime anyone called me relative to a problem, I called Bob Spencer, and he's always responded, done a good job for the town. So, Bobby, congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure now to introduce our next speaker. And by the way, there have been people who have asked to go in different order, and we're trying to accommodate others, and others who have notified me rather late about speaking, and so we'll do our very best to get everybody on board. But right now I would like to introduce a gentleman who will speak on behalf of the Massachusetts Juvenile Police Officers Association, an association very dear to the heart of Chief Spencer, who for so many years was a juvenile officer in Wilmington and has had so much to do with school-police relationships. It's a pleasure to introduce from Cambridge, gentleman in charge of the Detective Bureau there, Lieutenant Steve Williams.
Any attempt to describe Bob's dedication to duty to the residents of Wilmington or to the members of the Massachusetts Juvenile Police Officers Association would be to restate the obvious. He has long been recognized as a leader of the highest caliber, and his rise to become the chief of Wilmington Police Department was a validation of his selfless efforts and dedication. As I previously mentioned, our relationship with Bob has meant different things to each of us. Personally, I am truly grateful to have known Bob, and I consider him not only a colleague, but a friend. I think Bob would agree that our views on who we are and what we as police officers should serve our communities are similar, and I can tell you that I have learned much from him during our conversations. I would flatter myself, though, to believe that I could ever be the man we are gathered here to honor tonight. Bob, I believe I speak for all of the Massachusetts Juvenile Police Officers Association in congratulating you on your retirement and wishing you and June the best in your future endeavors.
Our next speaker is representing the Drug Enforcement Administration, and it's our pleasure to introduce another gentleman who is so representative of all of these wonderful law enforcement professionals who are here, the Group Supervisor, Jim Conley. Jim?
We've had the opportunity to work with your department on a regular basis. We've had the good fortune of having a guy assigned to our task force. Everybody's been extremely professional and competent, and that's a reflection of your leadership. We're going to miss you. However, we're going to look forward to a continued relationship with the Wilmington PD. And on behalf of DEA, I'd like to present you with this plaque on your retirement. It says, Chief Robert H. Spencer, in appreciation for your loyalty and support of DEA's mission from your friends at DEA. Best wishes in your retirement, October 2005.
Thank you very much, Jim. I don't know what this Begonis thing is all about. I'm having lunch tomorrow with Sensabar and Richter. Besides, Jimmy Rooney has 2 years to go before he retires. The next gentleman who is going to speak on behalf of this wonderful family of Bob Spencer. He is representing his siblings, Joseph Spencer, Tracy Misaraka and her husband Chris, want to acknowledge their wonderful children, Gianna and Marcelo. Michael and Laurie Spencer and their daughter Holly. Mary Beth and Rob Beals, the daughter Summer, and their son Tyler, the newest addition to this wonderful family. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the backbone of that family, the woman that has had to put up with the long nights and the difficult times. And all of you folks who are police chiefs know how important it is, and really all of you police officers know how important it is to have somebody who you can rely on and count on day in and day out, and that is the wonderful June Spencer. Introduce a gentleman that I've already mentioned who will be speaking on behalf of the family. He's followed in the footsteps of dear old Dad, Trooper Michael Spencer.
Thank you, Mr. Kyra. I just wanted to invite my brother Joe, Sister Tracy, and Sister Mary up here for moral support as I read my speech. I wanted to welcome everybody here to the Robert Henry Spencer the 14th retirement party. This is Joe, Tracy, and Mary. A lot of you know them, some might not. The good news is Joe didn't help write the speech. If you attended my wedding, you know what I'm talking about. My sisters and my brother just wanted to congratulate my father on a successful career. He's worked for as a police officer for 35 years. He started out in Woburn, walking the downtown beat. He told me about a few Chinese restaurants that he would duck in to keep warm on the cold winter nights. He transferred to Wilmington with the advice of Bobby Shelley, which worked out well. He worked his way up the ranks. He finally reached his goal of becoming the big shot, the chief. Things were not always easy for him or the people around him, as the people that worked with him know. But he worked hard and made a name for himself, which was tuna. He was a devoted family man and always was around for us. He was coach of our Little League teams, along with Mr. Allen, who's here tonight. Christmas was always big for us. I never got that Lionel train, though, that I always wanted. We'd always go on our yearly summer vacations. We'd go to the Cape, to New Hampshire, or exotic locations like Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The car rides were the things that I would remember the best, to and from. They were the most fun. A lot of you probably don't know that he has a sense of humor. When we were young kids, like 5 or 6 years old, he'd put us to bed at night, and he'd send us up the stairs. We'd make it halfway. He'd shut the light off and start making ghost noises, and we'd all scatter like cockroaches. I appreciated my father the most, though, when I was in the State Police Academy, because it was like a day at the beach for me compared to living with him. His methods were not always orthodox, but he got the job done, and I just wanted to congratulate him on an excellent job. I wanted to wish good luck to my mother, and again, congratulate my father on his retirement. Joe, you want to say anything?
Michael, that was a great job. Now we could listen to that for another 4 or 5 minutes, couldn't we? That was a wonderful testament to your dad. You know, there's a saying by David Hume that says, "What charms are there in the harmony of minds and in a friendship founded on mutual esteem and gratitude?" And I think when I mention that, I mention it because that mutual esteem and gratitude is really reflective of everybody here and the way they feel about Chief Spencer. And it's especially true in terms of his colleagues throughout the Commonwealth who are also chiefs of police who have come here to honor this wonderful man. Ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker is representing the chiefs of police, and he is the police chief of the wonderful town of Wakefield. It's a pleasure to introduce Chief Richard Smith.
Come on up, Bob. By the way, just so you'll know, Bob, all of these citations you get tonight are appealable. You have 4 days from tonight to appeal them. And I want to know, how did you get all these people to cough up $30 to come here on a Friday night? Shelley? Did you say Shelley? I promise the town manager here, I'm going to be very brief, guaranteed. But we have a tradition in the Mass Chiefs where we always present the ceremonial watch to the outgoing chief or the retiring chief. And, you know, Bob is no different. I've known Bob for 20 years. We met back studying for promotionals many, many years ago. We had the honor and pleasure of working with, well, I had the honor and pleasure of working with him for the last 10 or 15 years before we took the dive and became chiefs. But these watches are very special in that they're made for retirees. And when you get this and when you look at it very closely, it has something that's unique. There's no numbers on it. So for those who can't tell time, those who retired and their arms aren't long enough, or you don't want to know what time it is, this is the perfect watch for you. And also we're giving to you the life membership card for the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police. This allows you to go to all of our meetings in beautiful places like Holyoke and Pittsfield and all those beautiful but Bob, in recognition of your years in service, you know, as a police officer and coming through the ranks and your years of service as a police chief, on behalf of the Massachusetts Chiefs of Police, it's my honor and pleasure to give to you the ceremonial Chiefs of Police watch. Congratulations. Best of luck. May you have a long, healthy retirement.
Thank you very much, Chief. As Chief Smith is walking back, I want you to take a look at his hairline. And if you're interested in transferring, you'll go right to the top of that promotional list, Chief. Our next speaker is a gentleman who Bob is also known. He's worked with this particular program, the Northeast Family Institute, which is really representative and indicative of the interest that Bob has in the work that he has done for so many years. Allow me, please, to introduce the supervisor at the Northeast Family Institute of Shelter Care in Middleton, Massachusetts, Mr. Richard Mahoney.
I'd like to, hello. Am I on? I am standing up. So don't ask. Everybody else was telling jokes. First of all, I want to congratulate Bobby on a very successful law enforcement career, and I'm not going to speak as eloquent as some of these other police officers and politicians have spoke. My background's a little bit different, and the kids that I work with are a little bit different. The DYS kids, and I met Bobby, I believe, through the grace of God. One night I got a phone call up at the unit. I work at Northeast Family Institute. It's a 20-bed DYS facility for our court-committed youth, and it's an assessment center. I got this phone call, and the towns of Wilmington and Woburn were putting on a drug and alcohol task force night way back 1981, 82, something, I don't know. Nancy Reagan was the first lady, Just Say No campaign, stuff like that. And somebody on that panel had asked Bobby to give me a call, and I don't know who that gentleman was, because their speaker wasn't able to speak that night, and asked me if I would come down with some kids and speak. I had no clue what we were going to do. I agreed to do it, because you don't want to say no to a cop. And I agreed to do it, and myself, a young female, and 3 young men from the facility came down and participated in that event. And out of that that event, we began to get phone calls to go to different schools, different church organizations. I was a night shift supervisor at the time, and I was coming in the daytime to go out in different communities, and eventually we became active members in the Massachusetts Juvenile Police Officers Association. We're very, very committed to kids, try to help them before they end up in my place. It's where I learned how to play golf. I don't know if that's doing the juvenile justice people any justice by mentioning that. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank Chief Stewart for allowing Bobby to be Bobby and to do what he does best, and that's help people. My kids up at Shelter Care had experiences. Most of the kids that I work with, if not all of them, have this not so nice feeling towards police officers because most of their experiences, either their own or their family members, have been bad experience with police officers. I never really had the opportunity to see what a police officer is all about. And because of Bobby and the Mass Juvenile Police Officers Association and their commitment and Bobby's tremendous public relations program for our program, the program grew. And our kids began to build bridges with police officers throughout the community. And their view towards police officers, especially when police officers were inviting them into their communities, into their schools, and in Bobby's case, into his home one day, police officers taking him out through meeting different police officers. We were able to go through the whole state. We went to Martha's Vineyard. We went to Nantucket Island. The police officers flew us up. They had a paddy wagon waiting for us at the airport. I don't know what that was all about, but I guess that was just in case. And these kids just can't believe, that the police officers were doing what they were doing. Chief Stewart came up, had police Bobby and Bobby Shelley, and that's another thing I got to mention. I thought your name had to be Bobby to be a Bobby in Wilmington. Chief Stewart, allowed Bobby to be Bobby. They came up, gave the kids a plaque, went into the business community, got Christmas gifts for them, and it just kind of blew these kids away. And just in closing, because this is very uncomfortable for me, if you know where I came from, and it's a big honor, believe me. And so I don't want to be boring, but I do want to say thank you, Bobby, first and most of all, and from all the kids that you have able to touch, and along with the other police officers that we met through your efforts, and they were able to touch, and their views and their lives are much, much different and better today. We want to wish you as long and successful retirement as you had as a police officer. And what I have here, it's not a plaque, so I don't have to read. It's a picture of Bobby, myself, a youth, speaking at St. Thomas Church at a catechism group. And Bobby, thank you very much.
Bobby's very good friend, Larry McAdam.
I'd like to thank Bob Shelley for inviting me here this evening. I got a call from him a couple months ago inviting me to say a few nice words about Bob Spencer. And I said, why me, Bob? Isn't there somebody in Wilmington that could say something nice about him? But Bob, June, I personally, my wife Carol, would like to take this opportunity to wish you nothing but good health and happiness in your retirement years. And ladies and gentlemen, I know you will feel the same way, that wishing him a happy retirement and a successful lifetime of pleasure and health. And as the old Irish blessing goes, may the road rise to meet you, may the winds be always at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall soft upon your field. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good luck, mate.
It's my pleasure to finally bring up a female speaker to the podium, our great town clerk, Kay Scanlon.
Yes, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honor for me this evening to be able to speak and to pay tribute to Bob. I call Bob our kind and gentle police chief. Of course, it goes without saying that being a fellow department head, Bob has always been, has assisted me and his department in anything I have ever requested. They will always say to me, tell us what you need, Kay, and it is always done for me. Bob and I have served on many committees together, and the remarks that I'm making this evening are more of a personal nature. One day, Bob came into the office and was talking to me, and he began telling me how he wanted to pay respect to all the police officers who had worked in the town of Wilmington and who were now deceased. And he began telling me about his thoughts and the police association for a tribute to be put on their graves. He described it to me and talked about the content of it would be a bronze metallic material. And he mentioned how he thought it would glisten in the sun. And I just thought that was the kindest thing. My dad is in that cemetery, as many other dedicated police officers are. And every time I go, I think of Bob and the Police Association, and I'm not the only one because many people have mentioned it to me. I think that families of police officers and all the police officers themselves, I think that in a way we are all connected in the heart. All of us worry about the people we love. And I'm sure that June and Bob's beloved family will sigh a sigh of relief that now they don't need to worry so much. I am a daughter of a police officer who for many years was a deputy chief here in Wilmington, and he did not attain to become the chief, and that was a great sorrow in his life. So whenever the chief comes, I always root for the deputy. And so far, I have been successful. I swore in Bernie Nally, who is here tonight, and then of course I swore in Bob. And I am expecting to swear in another deputy. Town manager, take note. Just another brief story concerning Bob. On his very last meeting with us as department heads, our town manager was paying homage to him and saying how much we had appreciated all he had done for us. And Bob immediately began complimenting the rest of the department heads and saying how much he had enjoyed us and how much we had contributed to him. And I just again said, I just thought it was the kindest thing because all of us, we just all felt so good. Thank you, Bob, for that. A passage from a poem that I have read by a man called Adam Gordon from Ye Weary Wayfarers goes like this. Life is mostly froth and bubble. Two things stand like stone. Kindness in another's troubles and courage in your own. We will not ever know all the kindnesses that Bob has shown to so many people in our community, but I know personally how kind he has been to me. I lost my beloved husband about 4 years ago, and Bob knew him very well and shared that sorrow with me. We do know, however, of Bob's courage in both his personal and his professional life. And I know that all of you here tonight wish June and Bob and his beloved family the very best in the future. And we thank you, Bob Spencer, for the pleasure of your company.
The Wilmington Police Chief, Phil Mahoney.
Bobby, representing Nemlik, 44, it's 40, actually 46 agencies now. I'd like to present you with a plaque. You, in the short time you were chief, the long time you were lieutenant, deputy chief, and then chief. I know Bobby Stewart's here. I know Bernie Nally's here. We'd like to present you with a plaque thanking you for this. I mean, the short year and a half you were here, you did a lot. And I need the folks from Wilmington to know he has represented this community outstanding. Wilmington was a founding member of NEMLEC going back to 1963, one of 8 communities, Wilmington being one of them. They've had outstanding chiefs. And Bobby, I'm so sad that you're chief for such a short time. And I know people under you are glad about it, but I'm not, because it's going to be. Bobby, thank you, congratulations, and my best to you, June, for a very happy retirement and no more ghost stories.
It's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman who I had the privilege of appointing as a police chief, and despite the kidding, he had also had a remarkable career in the town of Wilmington in terms of law enforcement. And here to make a few remarks, it's a pleasure to introduce our former police chief, Bernie Nally.
I'm going to be brief. We have a little gift here. When I mentioned it to somebody, it's what I was going to give to Bobby tonight. And they mentioned, you know, it kind of fits him. He's got a head like that. And but what it is a brick from the old police station. When they tore the original police station down, now about 8 or 9 years ago, I think, my wife and I went down and salvaged some bricks. And so this is a little gift to Bob. It's a little reminder of what he did. Come on up, Bob. When he came to Wilmington 32 years ago in an old building that was too small when it was built, and we stuck it out, though, and now we have a new building, which I turned over to him. I might mention, I was down in the office just a few weeks ago. He wasn't there. The deputy chief was running things. I looked in his office. It was clean as a whistle. I left it not that clean. But you know, he just got this rocking chair here. It seems to me I saw a rocking chair in his office. And he wasn't there, but it was still rocking. So I don't know what that meant. Congratulations, Bob. Enjoy yourself.
The next speaker is a friend of Bob, and he is a retired juvenile officer himself. From the wonderful town of Belmont, the third gentleman named Mahoney to come to the podium today. I'm not sure what that means, but it's a pleasure to introduce William Mahoney.
Bob's career has touched not only the local youth of the town of Wilmington, but throughout the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and indeed our entire nation. Because in addition to being on the Massachusetts Juvenile Officers Association, he served on the board of directors for the International Juvenile Officers. And with that organization, we did some extensive traveling throughout the United States. This Bob Spencer that you've heard about this evening, and the emphasis that he has placed on education, I want to tell you that each and every single place that we did go, his first priority was to check out the local colleges to make sure that was or was not where he wanted to send his kids. And I have to say that it's always been an emphasis that, and I congratulate him for it, because way back when his kids were not even in the college age, that was his priority, is to see to it that his kids did get well educated, and no matter where it was. So Bob, of all the travels that he did throughout the country, I think he did very well by them, as you saw earlier this evening when they stood here before you. I don't want you to go home hungry tonight, Bob. There's some big stuffed tomatoes for you, and I hope you enjoy them. I just do want to close by saying that, Bob, through all of those years that you have offered your services and have benefited the children and indeed the Association of the Massachusetts Police Juvenile Officers, we hope that you won't end that, and that you will lend your expertise and kind of congeniality and join us at some of the meetings in the future. Bring your clubs, I'll bring the tomatoes. Thank you.
Let me please introduce to you Fire Chief Dan Stewart. Dan?
I'd just like to say it's an honor, and briefly like to say it's an honor to be here at the annual Police Chiefs Retirement Party. Seems like just yesterday we were here for Bobby Stewart, my mentor, helped me through many troubled times as a fire chief. Bernie Nally, I miss you, dude. It's we got very close in the new building, and of course the man who ran the Wilmington Police Department for many decades, Bob Shelley. And I had something to say about Mike Bergonis as acting chief, but now with the Rooney being in the plan, I'm really not sure what to say. So I'd like to wish Bob Spencer great happiness in his retirement, and it is typical that the fire department at this presentation gives the retiree a jersey with the fire department signature on it. I am getting word that we have, since we've given a plethora of jerseys over the years, I'm receiving word that Stewart, Nally, and Shelley really aren't wearing them the way we'd like to see them wearing them. So even on details, can you at least humor me? So anyway, this year I changed the design a little, made it a little more sporty yet stylish for wear on the golf course. And I'd like to...
Hey, I'll trade mine in.
It says Bob on it. But before I present the jersey to Chief Spencer, I'd just like to say that over the years, about 30 for myself, started on the line with Bob Spencer, answering day-to-day calls, emergency calls, worked in the schools with the children, he in the drug education and myself in fire prevention. When he moved on to the Detectives Bureau, we worked together on arson fires and many fire department simultaneous investigations. The man was tenacious. And then most recently, in our respective departments as chiefs, worked very closely together. As Kay Scanlon mentioned earlier, I too have a history of relatives in the police department, my uncle, my cousin, my godfather, and many of the Wilmington police officers who I call close friends. And I will say that Bob Spencer is second to none as a police officer in this town, and I have the utmost respect for him. I also believe that he'll make one hell of a selectman. I was a little late getting here, you did tell them. But at this time, I'd like to present the fire department jersey to Bob Spencer and wish him the best in retirement.
ladies and gentlemen, the superintendent, William McAuliffe, accompanied by a member of the school committee, Peggy King.
We've heard a lot tonight about what Chief Spencer has meant to the town of Wilmington in the terms of his law enforcement career. And it certainly goes without question the dedication and commitment that he has made to the town of Wilmington. But he is also, and I think you've heard that many, many times already tonight, he has also dedicated his career to serving the youth of Wilmington, and specifically, he has really championed the concept of developing a cooperative and collaborative working relationship with the school department, beginning in his role as a school attendance officer, bringing the DARE program to the town of Wilmington, a program that he started here and has literally served in a very, very positive way thousands of Wilmington school children to their benefit and to the benefit of the town. He's worked very hard the last number of years with the school department along with the fire chief, Chief Stewart, in helping us to develop our crisis and safety and security protocols. And it is my pleasure to be here with Mrs. King to present a small plaque. And please don't let the size of the plaque fool you. This is presented with much, much appreciation, and I'd like to read it. Presented to Police Chief Robert H. Spencer in appreciation for and recognition of his many years of dedicated service to the Wilmington Public Schools, October 21st, 2005. Thank you, Chief.
It's a pleasure to introduce Peter Carboni, Jr. Peter.
Thank you very much. I want to thank Bob Shelley for inviting me here tonight to give me this opportunity to pay tribute to my former classmate. It's a really great privilege to be here and to follow all these eloquent speakers tonight. At the Winchester-Woburn football game, Winchester was our arch rival. We lost the game, but it wasn't due to the lack of effort to Bob Spencer, because he played an outstanding game. As a matter of fact, he got the award for the best back from our team. Right? But the unusual thing about him getting the award was that we didn't even know it at the time until long after the game was over. Bob fractured his arm in the first half of the game, and he played the whole second half of the game with a broken arm. And he played just as hard in the second half as he did in the first half. Well, I think it shows the type of character that Bob has within him. It's like Teddy Roosevelt used to say, speak softly but carry a big stick. And I think that's Bob's nature all through life. That junior high school picture, 1955, with all of us in it. It goes back 50 years ago. It was certainly a pleasure. The other thing, if I can get out of the bag here. We've got a reproduced picture of our high school football team with Bob right there in the middle. You should all take a look at it. He's quite the athlete. The last thing is the football that he should have gotten if we had won that Winchester game, because he deserved the game ball. And it's signed by a number of your classmates. I got in touch with a lot of the classmates during the past few weeks. They've all made the effort to come up to my office and sign the ball, and I hope it brings back many fond memories to you, Bob.
Chief, tonight's your night, and it's your time to be awarded. for everything you've done for all of us and the leadership that you've given us that's made us what we have been. And this award is going to be presented to Chief Spencer from the Wilmington Police Department, presented to Chief Robert Spencer. It states, "You have set the standard for all police officers to follow and achieve, from all the men and women that served under your command in the Wilmington Police Criminal Bureau." Thank you very much, Chief. You will be missed. I wanted to just give you this. Also, there's another little gift that the Department of Homeland Security sent the Chief. They gave it to me since I work with the federal government, and it's a coffee mug. I just wanted to give that to you.
On behalf of the citizens of the town of Wilmington, the Board of Selectmen wish to commend you for the distinguished service you have performed during the 32 years as patrolman, sergeant, lieutenant, deputy police chief, and police chief of the town of Wilmington. We recognize you for your faithful and devoted service to your profession and department. Your 32 years of service to the town and the citizens of Wilmington are most appreciated, and our sincere wishes are extended to you for a happy and fulfilling retirement. Best of wishes to you, Bob, your family.
Thank you very much, Ray. We just have a couple of more people who are going to speak, all very, very important, and I appreciate your indulgence. And let me introduce a gentleman who served the town of Wilmington as a police chief for 21 years, who was an extremely effective and innovative leader in this law enforcement community, and a very close collaborator with Chief Spencer. It's my pleasure to introduce a gentleman I had the pleasure of working with for most of that time, Chief Bobby Spencer. Bobby Stewart.
I'll make every effort to keep this as short as possible, but Bobby and I go back a long way. We went on Woburn as reserves the same year. I broke it across the border the very next year and went on in Wilmington in 1970. But Bobby and I went to the police academy together. And it was during the time that we were in the academy, he finished the house on Main Street in Wilmington and moved up with June and started his family. It was that time my wife Lydia was working in Lowell. We're going to the old Lowell State Teachers College Police Academy. We shared rides. We sat in the back of the room together. So Bobby and I have been close friends for 35 plus years, 36 years, I guess. I heard the juvenile officers, one of you spoke about Bobby tempering his tenacity, and I'd just like to know when that started. I worked at that for 21 years, and he was just as tenacious the day I left as he was the day I started with him. If there was ever a child in need of services, and that was what we called most of them back then, Bobby was there. You've heard from everyone, Richie and everyone else. What I'd like to say, though, is this, is something special about juvenile officers. Most of you, even police officers within your own departments, don't realize what a juvenile officer goes through, the sacrifices they make. When you get into sexual assault and child abuse, child neglect, their office has a strict code of need to know. The policy on need to know is absolute. Maybe the chief, juvenile officer, prosecutor. It wears on you. There's a tremendous sacrifice that is made by every juvenile officer in this state. No matter small town, big town, doesn't make any difference. It's the same job. The heartaches, the sacrifice that you and your family have made over those years will always be remembered. Bobby Shelley asked me to speak briefly about DARE, and that came way into Bobby and my relationship as chief and as patrolman together. Bobby started a wide range of things, not just the ones you've heard about tonight, but we saw kids get in trouble. We talked about an outward bounds type program. You know, that's not feasible in a small town. Bobby came out with a wilderness trip each year where he took kids up into the mountains. Those kids would come back unable to believe that a 45, 50-year-old man could push them up and down those mountains. But he taught them some self-esteem. He taught them who they were. He taught them that he was not just a cop, but he was a person, a father, someone who cared. We talk about tenacity. Chief Mahoney was here. I don't know if he's still here or not, but I go back to one late afternoon, and I don't know what time of year it was, probably in the fall. Bobby's my juvenile officer, and he'd been working some real difficult, serious cases. I mean, the type that just eat away at you. And he has a child abuse case. And I'm on my way to execute a search warrant across town, and the desk man calls me, and he says, "Chief, would you give Judge Cullen and Woburn a call right away?" And I says, "Well, would you advise the judge that I'm en route to serve a search warrant? When I get the house secure, I'll give him a call if he's still in his private office." All of a sudden, Bobby comes on the radio and says, "Chief, could I talk to you before you make that call?" I gave him the address where to meet us, and Bobby shows up. One of the things that Bobby and we always talked about was integrity amongst ourselves, our police officers, and what it meant to us in our profession. And in this particular case, a defense attorney had, I think, just raised the suggestion that there might have been some prosecutorial misconduct involved. And it was just enough of a question in the judge's mind that he dismissed the case. At which point Bobby says, "Your Honor, could I approach the bench?" And the judge says no, and got up and went into recess. In fact, it was the last case of the day. Bobby just doesn't know what the word no means. So he goes around to the judge's lobby and tries to get in. And the judge's court officer standing outside says, "The judge is not going to talk to you, Bobby. No, you can't go in." Bobby still can't take no for an answer. He knows the judge has got to leave sooner or later, so he takes his car, parks it right behind the judge's parking lot, in a parking space in the parking lot, and proceeds to sit there and wait for the judge to come out. This guy's going to talk to me. At this point, I believe Phil was a lieutenant at the time, I'm not sure, but Lieutenant Mahoney pulls up and says, "Bobby, you're going to have to leave. The judge wants you arrested for idle and disorderly." Well, I had to tell Bobby that I thought that maybe his approach was a little extreme and that we needed to work on that, temper that tenacity. Didn't work. But even as I told him I thought it was a little extreme, I had to admire the courage of an individual that feels that dedicated toward his own integrity, the integrity of his profession. And that's what Bobby has meant to this community throughout his service here. Honesty, integrity, and dedication. Those are the three qualities that Bobby has exhibited since I've known him. I will always be what I consider to be a friend of Bobby Spencer's, Chief Spencer now, and I couldn't be prouder that you were the chief. That's two of us out of that graduating class anyway. And I just want to say thanks to you personally, but more especially to June and the family, because I truly do understand the sacrifices that each of you make. Being the family of any police officer is difficult, but being the family of a police officer so dedicated and so intimately involved with young children and the problems in their lives takes its toll on you too. But the one thing that, Bobby, when we think about it, I think of some of the cases you had over the last few weeks, and I remember my reaction, I'm sure it was yours too, is that after seeing those terrible cases that we saw or worked on, we went home and hugged our kids because it made them that much more important. We didn't take it home with us, but we loved them even more. Bobby, if you'd come up, please. Since I'm not a chief or anything anymore, being retired, all I can do is give you advice. So, but this is a jacket you can wear anywhere. It's not a sweatshirt that's one of those that won't identify you as a cop or anything. But Lydia and I again want to say thank you for everything that you've done, your contribution to this community and sacrifice to this community. You'll always be remembered, the example you set for all of us. Never be forgotten. I cut it a little short because the manager just
Great job as usual, Chief. We have two more people before we introduce our honored guest, and if you have any fruits or vegetables at your table, please hold them, because I'm now going to introduce the honorable chairperson, a co-chairperson of this event. He's getting the credit, but Annette Shelley and Mike Pagonis did all the work. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bobby Shelley.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Before I talk about my good friend, the tuna, I'd like to thank a few people here this evening who helped make this a great success. Tracy Spencer, June Spencer, Deputy Chief Mike Pagonis, John Bossy, Dave Shagru. We'd like to thank Don's Designs by Don for the lovely flower arrangements you have here this evening. And, of course, Robin, who's put up with more phone calls than Mike Kyra has. Every time we call down, we get another change. Finally, we had to send the deputy chief down here to straighten it out, put a little heat on her. But she always does a nice job for us. Thank you very much. Nice meal. We got Don and Ron over here from WCTV. Thank you guys for coming up. And anytime we call down there, no matter what it is, they're willing to help us out. We had a guy here taking pictures, Bobby Beals. We got him real cheap. He's in the family, so it costs us too much there. And I would like to wish you and Joan a great retirement. And if you'd step up here. On behalf of all your friends here this evening, I have a little token to give to you to help you out on your trip you're going on next week, and maybe you and I can use the rest to play golf.
Now, for the purpose of a very special presentation, it's my pleasure to introduce the Deputy Chief of the Wilmington Police Department, who will, as of, 40 minutes from now, be responsible in that capacity as the acting head of that department. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Pagonis.
Get a load of them. If that lasted any longer and the bar stayed open, I'd be doing my Dean Martin impersonation right now. Holy cow. Bob, a year and a half ago, you asked me to come on as your second in command as you ended your career, and I ended 14 years of sobriety. Oh, by the way, I am kneeling. I come here with mixed emotions. One side, I'm happy. The other, I'm saddened. On the hand that I'm happy for my friend Bob Spencer and his family, as he embarks on his new chapter of his life filled with travel, golf, and daycare. I'm happy and grateful for the countless successes that Bob Spencer has made over the many years of his career. On the other hand, I'm saddened. I'll not enjoy our daily chats each morning. I'll not be able to bounce both professional and personal dilemmas off a trusted friend with the mere effort of stepping outside my office door. As you had heard from his colleagues and his friends this evening, his achievements transcend that of a typical police career. In recent years, you've heard many times since 9/11 about what a true hero is. True heroes are typically found in uniform, in the armed services, fire departments and police departments across the country. I enjoy and am honored to work with heroes every day. Our friend Bob has served his country well, as his community, since a very young age, and he's done it with distinction. Early in his career, his progressive ideas and tenacious work ethic created many a successful program we enjoy now in our community. His leadership in this community has opened doors for younger officers to pass through and carry the torches as heroes. His selfless commitment in every task that he has ever undertaken exemplifies what I believe makes a hero. And he's my hero. So it's with great pride, Bob, if you would come up, that I offer you this neatly wrapped gold retirement shield as Chief of Police. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Michael. Great job. For any of those folks who I failed to acknowledge or recognize, my apologies. I do want to recognize, at least as a group, the members of Bob and June's family who are here. I know that Bob's mother-in-law, Mrs. Calandrella, was here for most of the evening and had to leave, but his sisters, brothers, in-laws, outlaws, all, who I'm sure Bob would be more than happy to recognize at some point in the future. I just want to recognize all of you and thank you for being here. And as well, I want to also pay a particular tribute and thanks to Annette Shelley. I've talked about her tonight, but she really did a tremendous job. You know, I'm going to cut down my 20-minute speech to about 30 seconds. I could talk about Bob Spencer forever, and it's my pleasure to be able to not only introduce Bob, but also to present him with the token of appreciation on behalf of the town, and in particularly the town manager, who gets the one special privilege among all the wonderful privileges that I have in serving this town, is a privilege to present to retirees a very special apple, and I will have that pleasure to give to a man who I have come to know and to respect and to admire for all of the things that so many people have said about him tonight. I think that you can only look at his family to understand what a success story Bob and his wife June are. I think that there's no greater tribute in anybody's life than to be able to point with pride to the influence that you have on your family and on that family's reciprocal love for you. And I think that shows so much in the case of Bob and June Spencer. And so Bob is a man of principle. He's a man of decency. He's a man of courage, and he's a man of profound humility. And Bob, when I say that, I know that you are somewhat of an historian and probably can appreciate the words of somebody like Indira Gandhi. And she said, there are two kinds of people, those who do the work and those to take the credit. She said, try to be in the first group. There is less competition there. Isn't it the truth? And isn't it the truth that Bob Spencer is somebody whose deeds will, I think, last forever, and his deeds will be recognized, really, because he is a part of that first. It doesn't matter who gets the credit. He just wants to make sure the job gets done. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce our honoree, Chief Robert Spencer. This is the beautiful apple, and this, would you hold that apple for a second, Chief? And this is a very special plaque that has fingerprints all over it, and says, Robert H. Spencer for 32 years of devoted service to the town of Wilmington, and as you look at it, Bob, you can see that it's a picture of you and I, and that, ladies and gentlemen, Chief Spencer.
When I heard there was going to be 32 speakers, I also said, wow. And when I came into this room and I looked around and I seen my classmates sitting over here, Peter Carboni, our class president, Bobby Pappas, we all played ball right across from his house, and Wally Palmer, my old buddy from Mount Pleasant Street. Very, very surprising to see them all here. And some people seated to my left that I haven't seen in years. One of my longtime friends, his brothers and sisters, the Hamiltons. I was just stunned to see them. And my old friend from the military days, Larry McAdams. And we go back many, many years, and I can tell you one thing, that he has had a medical problem with his heart, and he's been receiving treatment for it. And I hope everything works out very well for him, because the only guy I can beat playing golf. And just walking around the room, Richie Mahoney from NFI Shelter Care, way, way back in the start of times, when we first got going, Bobby Shelley and me. He doesn't refer to himself as what everybody else calls him, Ralph. And we gravitate from those meetings to the safety meetings, and those are some of the best years I ever had. Those guys were true quality, integrity. If you wanted something information-wise, these are the people that I would go to for a good 10 to 15 years. Great, great people. There's people here from the court. The type of court that I still wish we had. And unfortunately, we're moving into a different era, a different time frame, and things are done differently. But they're great people, and they're here tonight also. There's just so many people here. The old chief, Bobby Stewart, was actually younger than me, and it is true what I said when I was appointed, and if you look, you'll see very quickly that I still am the only chief with hair in the past 50 years. But I've truly had a great time, and I've had a very good relationship with the fire chief, Danny Stewart, also. We'd talk on a few occasions and discuss various issues, various problems, because my philosophy is that we're in the same building. We do a job that's kind of allied with one another, and we have to kind of share ideas and work together. And I've always enjoyed that relationship with him. And one of the things that I found out in this particular town, and Kay Scanlon had mentioned it, was all of the department heads in this town and the employees, when I've had any activity that I had to bring to their attention, these department heads always did the utmost to make it much easier for me, whether I was a patrolman, sergeant, lieutenant, whatever the case may be. They always did that. And that always struck me as, boy, these people are real quality, and they know their business. All you got to do is watch them and listen to them. And you'll know that you are receiving some of the best treatment that you could possibly get from the town employees in this town. That's right down to the people that build your sidewalks, your stone walls. Just think about what they do, setting up an election, Kay Scanlon. Have Skip Monahan sometimes explain to you how you rise at the tax rate. The knowledge they have is something that you have to really appreciate, and I do. And I also appreciate the fact that the man who's been the master of ceremonies this evening had the wisdom and the foresight to appoint me as a lieutenant, deputy chief, and chief. And I'll always be beholden for it, because without that, I wouldn't have arose to those positions. So he had that confidence in me that I could do the job, and I do appreciate that, Mike. I see a lot of people from the community here, and I see a lot of police departments that are represented from Reading, Wakefield, and these are all people that I worked with over the years. North Reading, the Mass Chiefs were here, and my old friend from many years ago rose to become chief in Pittsfield. And you can imagine when I seen him here, I wonder where he landed, because Pittsfield's on the New York border. Great guy, school teacher, decided to become a cop. And while we were both studying, he went up and became chief in Pittsfield, and I attained it here a few years later. So these are all very, very good quality people that you encounter during the course of your career. There's a few retired people here from our job this evening that, I always associate with them because we worked together over the years. We kind of had the same philosophies. Sergeant Dave McHugh, Sergeant Joe Duffy, Sergeant Jimmy Rooney. I don't know if there's any more of us in the audience that are retired, but there's people like that still live in the community, and they do make a difference for everybody concerned. And my philosophy basically has been geared more towards doing things for people for my whole career, basically. And I took that philosophy from an individual that became chief in Woburn, Leo McElhaney. He was a guy that, as a young kid, he would just say, hey, come on, walk with me while I check the doors. And we'd walk around, check the doors with him, and I thought, hey, this is a great job, walking around the summertime, checking doors, and later on in life, the opportunity arose, and I took advantage of it. Some of you might say, I can't believe he became a cop. But we change. Because of what we were, sometimes our philosophies change because of how we are impacted by whoever we encountered. And one of the people in the audience tonight that I first encountered, and we ended up starting a Narcotics Anonymous club in Wilmington, I don't know how many years ago it was, Richie, but I believe it's still going on at one of the local churches. He brought kids in who were 14, 15, and I listened to their stories, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe a kid that age could get involved in that much trouble. Murder. Can't get any worse. And he's up there working with them on a daily basis. Some of these kids have been completely turned around, as he told you tonight. So there's people out there that are looking to make a change and looking to do something to make your community better. So you have town employees here that are doing it. You have people outside of your community that will come in and help you. And the only thing I can suggest to you is, and this is basically my principle, that if you're going to do something, do it right.